"2025 was a monumental year for American Steam Railroad practically before it even began. It was the 10th anniversary of the 2100's original restoration campaign, which started in 2015. It was the 20th anniversary of ASR's founding back in 2005, and it was the 80th anniversary of the 2100's construction in 1945. That's already quite a legacy to live up to, but thanks to the skill of our contractors, the enthusiasm of our volunteers, and the support of our donors like you, we have made this year a true milestone year and set us up with great momentum going into 2026. Let's take a look back at what we've been able to accomplish in 2025. Starting off this year was a whirlwind of work to reassemble all the piping, water delivery systems, all the oil firing controls, bringing in new components such as the fire door, the oil control valve, the burner made by FMW Solutions, reassembling the front end with the petticoat, the blast nozzle, and the blower, all sorts of work to ensure that we could meet our April steam test date. And in the middle of all this work, we asked you to raise $4,500 at the last minute to ensure we could meet that date, and you came through and exceeded that goal. From the very beginning of this restoration, our stated goal was to simply fire up 2100. And on the morning of April 3rd, for the first time in 18 years, we did just that. We fired up 2100. Over the course of 2 days in April, the boiler, water delivery systems, and piping were put to the test after a decade of work. And the fact that it was successful is not only a testament to our contractors and volunteers' work, but also your past 10 years of support of this project. At the time of the steam test, including the value of our volunteers' hours, we had committed $1.8 million of investment into the locomotive. And later in this video, our treasurer, Forrest Nace, is going to give you an updated amount on where we are at the end of this year. If you had not contributed, imagine where this artifact would be at now. Possibly a very different place. So upon completion of our first steam test, we identified a few areas that needed additional work, one of which was the stay bolts on the lower part of the backhead. We observed 6 stay bolts that began to slightly weep under steam, and they were all behind the rear wall of fire brick here on the backhead, below the fire door. And what that said to us was we could just replace those 6 stay bolts, but then we could have problems with more stay bolts down the road for the same reasons. So we decided to get ahead of that and replace all of the rigid stay bolts below the fire door, 74 in total, on the backhead here throughout the summer. This involved getting the bar stock material itself from the Strasburg Railroad and machining it at Blyle Machine Company over in Mentor, Ohio, and installing them later in the summer. On the washout plugs, the seating surfaces on both the sleeves and the caps were slightly pitted and corroded, and we found that the copper gaskets were of a slightly harder material that didn't crush down and seat properly. So over the later part of the summer, we lapped the washout plug seats on the sleeves, we sent the caps off to New Swanger Machine to be machined smooth, and we replaced all the copper gaskets with a slightly softer material that should crush down better the next time the locomotive is steamed up. In July, we asked you to help us raise $7,000 to support this work, and you came through and helped us exceed that goal and ensure this work was completed to the highest standard possible. Our successes this year weren't just limited to the Roundhouse, but also outside of the Roundhouse in the greater railroad community and our Cleveland community as well. On June 14th, we collaborated with the Cincinnati Scenic Railway to host a select number of benefit tickets aboard the Spirit of Urbana excursion from Washington Courthouse to Urbana, Ohio. The very next day, June 15th, we worked with the Fort Wayne Railroad Historical Society to host the 250s whistle aboard the Nickel Plate Road steam locomotive number 765 for a full day of excursions through Ohio, Indiana, and Michigan. Over the course of the year, we also attended many train shows, community events, and outreach programs to get the word out about our organization, and we added Susan G. Komen Breast Cancer Foundation and Pipe Vice to our list of corporate sponsors this year. And then, of course, the hallmark event of the year was on October 11th, Locomotive Number 250's 80th birthday open house, where we had our live steam tractor here, a massive model railroad, over 50 whistles being blown all day, as well as a night photo session in the evening. It brought almost 400 people in here in just a single day to experience all the sights and sounds and smells of their own railroading history. And we look forward to expanding on this event next year. So here in the last quarter of 2025, we buttoned up all of our stay-bolt work and our washout plug work in preparation to put the boiler back under pressure and test what we had done. And upon completion of our most recent hydrostatic test, we were pleased to find that all of our stay bolts were sealed and all of our washout plugs were also sealed. From that point, we then relayed all of the fire brick we removed inside the firebox, reinstalled the cab here back on the locomotive, and began reinstalling all the piping, oil firing controls, water delivery systems, and everything else to get the locomotive ready to fire up again. And that brings us to where we are today, extremely close to firing again as soon as possible in the first quarter of 2026.
Well, everybody, 2025 has been an amazing year here for us, no doubt due to the generosity you've shown with your contributions, as well as the tremendous work our volunteers and professional contractors have been able to do here. So at this time, we're going to do a breakdown so you can see where all your givings have gone. Transportation, lifting, and unloading of the locomotive, $59,303. Firebox investment, $150,721.34. Cab control engages, $4,135. Boiler work, $95,024.32. Metal testing, as well as the 1472 report, $7,410.48. Running gear work to date, $18,730.34. Tender investment, $5,974.07. Total costs for tools, supplies, lubricants, and personal protective equipment such as N95 masks, oxygen and propane cylinders, and wire wheels and sanding devices and grinding tools, $85,041.58. For a total locomotive and tender investment so far to date of $426,340.13. Overhead costs. Rent at $172,781. Rail yard services, such as locomotive and tender movements, $3,385.31. Storage container costs, $15,297. Insurance, $63,819.32. Administrative, accounting, and website services, $41,762.75. For overhead costs totaling $297,045.38. To date, a total cash investment of $723,385.51. With our volunteered labor value added at 26,091 hours, valued at $50 an hour, $1,304,550, totaling out to an investment of $2,027,935.51 so far to date for the AFT 250 restoration. So everybody, that's what we've been able to do with the contributions you've made so far. We hope you do continue them as we now progress with the running gear.
We look forward to the opportunity to roll this locomotive out of the door for excursion service in 2026, but there's only one way that will happen, and that's if you can keep up your support with your donations, buying merchandise, renewing your memberships, and spreading the word about this locomotive and our cause. As always, none of this progress would be possible without our donors, our volunteers, our contractors, and our hosts here at the Midwest Railroad Preservation Society, all working together to ensure that we continue to move forward with this restoration. And once again, all the ways you can support us on our website, americansteamrailroad.org.